And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Peach State Power Hour. I'm Harris Reno, alongside me, co-host Andy Stowe, Eddie from Acworth, and our special guest, the host of Dog Nation Daily, Brandon Adams, is joining us today. And before I turn it over to Brandon, I know we said Eddie from Acworth, the man who helped set this all up.
Yeah.
Let him give a little brief introduction.
Well, yeah. Good evening, boys. Hope you all are well. And Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure most of Dog Nation, I say that, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Dog Nation, not you, knows who Brandon Adam is. 10 to 11 every day. He runs a show called Dog Nation Daily, does a fantastic job keeping fans close to their beloved Bulldogs. And he does it year round. That's what I love about Brandon, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about year round. It never stops: basketball, baseball, etc. But Brandon and I have known each other for a long time. I used to call his radio show back on the 790 days years ago. So we go back a long way just talking to each other. We really appreciate you being here. And you can follow Brandon at Dog Nation Daily on X. So there you have it. Thank you so much for being here, Brandon. We really appreciate it.
Eddie, I certainly appreciate the introduction. Yeah, listen, I've got great memories of, for me, what was essentially growing up and learning how to, talk on the radio or learning how to do that kind of thing. And, I loved that time in sports radio because it was early days of internet. It was pre-social media. Obviously, what we do now on YouTube and things like that, completely different back then. But boy, what a great time to be talking sports. What an interesting time to be around Atlanta. And, guys, I'll tell you that Eddie was always a great caller and just a great sports fan, just somebody that was really plugged into the Dogs and like the Falcons and Braves and things like that. And so when I think about those memories for me, good time of just kind of trying to learn how to do this for a living. Eddie's one of the names that certainly pops up for me because he was always a great caller and always somebody who was very passionate about the teams, which was very much like me because I've always loved sports. And frankly, I've always loved our local teams too.
He calls every radio station around the greater Athens area. So, yes, he's very well known.
Andy, go ahead with your question.
You make a name for yourself over time doing that. People are always appreciative of that.
Yeah, I have friends Andy, that will text me, "Oh, I just heard Eddie from Acworth on the radio." Yeah, they text me all the time. So,
well, it's funny, a lot of radio stations don't take calls like they used to.
That's right.
There isn't as much of that as there used to be, and really, I miss that because, as I said, pre-social media, a time in which now everybody can fire off whatever opinion they want 1,000 different ways. There was a time in which that was the only way that the average fan, and I think of myself very much the same way, the average fan could, let the Braves manager or the Georgia coach or the Falcons owner or whatever. I mean, these were powerful people that through this medium were, I don't want to say forced to, but they certainly would hear what the average fan thought. And to me, to sound corny, there was always something kind of beautiful about that, that the average fan, once again, I mean, right there, just like anybody else, that the regular fan, the regular guy could voice his opinion and, coaches and owners and GMs would hear that and at least be impacted by it somehow. I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's times are changing, but yeah, that was great. Call-in shows are great. But Brandon, again, like Eddie said, thanks for joining us. But so one of the questions that I would like to ask you is, what are your thoughts on this current team from where we started at the beginning of the year to where we are now? And is this team good enough to win the SEC? And are they good enough to win a national championship?
Well, listen, you can make a long list of things that I've been wrong about. And I think this Georgia team is one of those things that I probably turned out to be pretty wrong about, in that at the beginning of the year, I was having a great time watching them. Listen, the Tennessee win was thrilling. Even the Alabama, loss. Okay, you shake that off, whatever. I was having a good time with this Georgia team, but there were enough blemishes where I was probably of the mindset that, boy, this is probably not a national championship team. Maybe they can make the playoff. Maybe they can do whatever. But their best chance to really succeed might come in 2026.
Yeah.
Or some future year, after this. Well, golly, based on the way they played the last couple of weeks, Mississippi State's where I think really a lot of this started happening. And then the Texas game was certainly an example of that. Now you think, well, why not Georgia in comparison to Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M? And they still may not win the national championship. That's obviously a hard thing to do. But over the course of the season, Georgia's clearly gotten better. No doubt about that. And as they've improved, they have clearly risen beyond whatever I thought the most likely, most realistic expectation was. I didn't think we'd be talking about a deep run in the playoff or a national championship. And now I would say any of that seems quite possible based on what they've done the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
that's
Like,
great.
From the beginning of the year, the offensive line has improved so much.
That may be the group that's
Yeah.
improved the most.
It is.
And you maybe no coincidence that, oh, yeah, well, now the quarterback's playing well, and now the
Yeah.
running game's coming
For
along.
sure.
You know, when the offensive line improves, that becomes a lever that raises the fortunes for all those position groups.
100%. Yeah.
Brandon, I've been banging this drum since last year, where I thought last year the team took on the personality of their quarterback, and we can talk about that another time. But I think this team has absolutely taken on the personality of Gunnar Stockton, the moxie, the makeup of this team, the humbleness, the win at all costs, no matter what. What do you think about that? And do you think that's the kind of thing, taking on Gunnar's personalities this team has, do you think that's the kind of thing that can propel them to the next level and win a championship?
Well, it's the one thing I've always noticed. And obviously last December, this came shining through. And I'm like you, I don't necessarily want to make this be an anti-Carson thing, just keeping it to Gunnar. It's obvious that the Georgia players really liked him. And it reminds me a lot of Stetson Bennett. Now, Stetson and Gunnar, I think, are different players. But in 2021, when the world wasn't quite so sure yet about Stetson Bennett, I'm thinking Florida game around that time, and there are a lot of folks who thought maybe JT Daniels should take the reins back over. It was undeniable that guys like Nolan Smith and others, they really liked him a lot. And players know, they're in the locker room, they're on the practice field, they just know. And quarterback is a trust position. And the Georgia players back in 2021 obviously trusted Stetson Bennett, and he proved worthy of that trust. And it's maybe not a surprise that turned out to be true, because of course they just see more of him than any of us would. And I think a lot of the same stuff is true about Gunnar Stockton too. That compared to Arch Manning and some players like that, Stockton is less heralded, was less heralded. Now that's not to say that he wasn't a good recruit. He was. He's top 100 level player, high 4-star. That's a pretty big deal from a recruiting standpoint. But he wasn't the hype machine that Arch Manning was, and so some Georgia fans were a little skeptical, and maybe even rightly so. Are we sure this guy is ready to be what Georgia needs for him to be, given the fact that he's not going to show up on, like, say, the first round draft pick mock drafts and things like that? It's maybe not an unfair question. And yet, once again, the same thing is true. The Georgia players who are a lot closer, who just know it better, they're embedded with him, they have always really liked him. And once again, this may be an example of history repeating itself, where the faith and trust that the players had in their quarterback, that may prove to be, really warranted, because Gunnar is certainly playing at an incredibly high level right now. It's been really amazing to see.
Yeah, he is.
Brandon, let's switch gears over to the defense. Obviously, that unit has had a lot of, struggles at times this year. Obviously, November's been much better in terms of they're starting to get some stops. Third downs looked a lot better. What are your thoughts been on that unit? And as you think, has this quote improvement we've seen been more so this unit growing up, or is it kind of a product of the opponents they've played? Like, how do you balance those two, variables?
Well, we just did a whole thing about, oh my gosh, this offensive line's gotten so much better. Look how much better the Georgia offense has gotten. The defense has improved too. I do think it's improved a lot slower. I think the improvement overall is probably more incremental. I mean, listen, if Kirby Smart was here, he'd be mad at me for saying this, but I do wish they had more pass rush. And I think if they had more pass rush, everything would be a little easier. I mentioned 2021 a moment ago. Back in 2021, Georgia had 49 sacks. I mean, that's a lot. And obviously that was a defense that clearly benefited from that. I do wish this group had more of that, but they are slowly getting some more of that. I mean, you can say, okay, well, some of this is a product of who they played, but they also really took care of Texas. And we think of Texas as a good offense. It's weirdly now in 3 matchups dating back to last October, a pretty favorable matchup for Georgia for maybe a million different reasons. But nonetheless, it's a high level of competition. It's a ranked opponent, in other words. And, they are at least good, if not quite as great as their preseason ranking suggests. So I do think that Georgia's getting better defensively. I think some of these young guys are growing up. And even some not so young guys are just playing more. Gabe Harris is playing better. Tavis Johnson is playing better. My gosh, how good has Raylan Wilson proven to be this year? It seems like second-year cornerbacks. DeMello Jones is coming to his own. Ellis had an interception on Saturday. It's a lot of individual players who are raising their own level, and the group seems to be benefiting from that. I still think this is a team led more by offense than defense. And it seems like from the very beginning of the season, we were fairly certain that's what the personality of this team is going to be. That's turned out to be the case. But they are getting better. And I do believe that they're capable of giving Georgia. I mean, listen, think about Friday. The Tech offense, statistically speaking, has been pretty good this year. I think that Georgia can be better in that game this year than it was a season ago. And whatever Georgia faces the rest of the way, defensively, they can be equal to the task. They can go out there and do what needs to be done. You probably have more confidence in the Georgia offense than the Georgia defense, but incrementally, and I would say, slowly, Georgia's changing that. They've also improved on the defensive side, in other words, too.
Yes, sir. And I know we got to let you go. So last thing, then we'll let you go. Thank you so much for doing this again. Kind of how do you see the season going rest of the way? Where do you have Georgia ending up come the end of January?
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion. I'll start with this and we'll move forward. That one of these two teams on Saturday is going to lose, whether it be with Texas beating Texas A&M.
Breaking news, huh?
As crazy as it sounds, I don't give Alabama a 100% chance of beating Auburn. I really don't. Alabama has struggled a little bit offensively. This is a night game at Jordan-Hare. I think their fans are probably into it, even though it's been, a pretty weird and disappointing year for them. I'm guessing they're going to probably be into this. So between either Auburn upsetting Alabama or Texas upsetting Texas A&M, I have a weird suspicion that one of those two things is going to happen, which would put Georgia in the SEC championship. And I know that not every Georgia fan agrees with this. And listen, there is a fairly strong argument for you might be better off missing it. I do really get that. But I do think that if you can go to Atlanta, win the game, get a top 4 seed, get the bye, even though that means you would not be hosting a game in Athens, which is something that a lot of folks would like to have happen. I do think that would set up well for Georgia. And then after that, I think that Georgia is capable of making a run. Now, I can sit here and tell you they're going to win the national championship. The truth is, I really don't know if they are. But I do think, and maybe this is just recency bias because the team's played well the last couple of weeks. It seems like this team right now may be set up more for success than maybe the team was a year ago when you had Gunnar Stockton only making his first start. Or when you had a team that, my God, Georgia got handled pretty good by Ole Miss a year ago, right? They had a really bad first quarter against Alabama. You don't really have quite as many blemishes on this team. There have been stretches where they did not play well. I don't deny that. But, they got a chance if they can win on Friday. And listen, I think Tech's going to play well that day. They're going to be fired up for that game. So I'm not counting that as an easy win. But if they do get that, that's 11-1 against this schedule. That would lead me to believe this is a team that can certainly be competitive in the college football playoff and clearly have an opportunity to do what every Georgia fan wants it to. That's not what I was saying a month ago. It's not what I thought I'd be saying here the week of Thanksgiving. But given the way they've played, I do think that Georgia fans have every right to be a little more confident now than they were before.
Well, Brandon, we really appreciate it. We know you're up against, and once again, joined by Brandon Adams of Dog Nation. And thank you so much for doing this, Brandon. We really appreciate it. And I want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. And before you leave, tell us, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish? If you could pick anything out this week, what would you have in front of you?
Well, for me, it's going to be anything beige. I want as many beige foods as I can get. I want mashed potatoes. I want macaroni and cheese.
Why
nothing
beige?
Because like it's sort of that sort of palish, white, like nothing green. In other words, if it's green, I want to stay far away. I want the mashed potatoes. Okay. I want the dressing. I want the macaroni and cheese. Anything that's sort of a pale yellow. That's what that's what I'm looking for from a side dish standpoint. Very, I try to stay away from the starches.
Because.
Yeah, go ahead.
Say to eat. The pale yellow comes in this coming Friday, and we want to beat the hell out of pale yellow. Right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. I want the yellowish, creamish colored sides. But when you face that pale yellow on Friday, then I want to see the big dog take a big bite out of them for sure.
That's right.
Hey, y'all, it's really nice to be with y'all. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving too. And I hope that, for you and everybody that's watching us right now, I hope you're having as much fun with this season as I am. I tell you, college football has changed a lot in recent years. And at various points in time, I haven't always been quite so sure it was a change for the better. And frankly, there's still things that happen from time to time that make me a little worried. But overall, man, the sport's never been more entertaining. Georgia football itself has never been more entertaining. When I see Harris in the press box a lot. When I'm there and watching all this play out, I just still can't believe that this is what we get to do. Watch this era of Georgia football playing out. And listen, you can't win every game, and who knows how seasons are going to end. But man, I have never been more engrossed in a product than the current state of college football, the wild drama in the SEC, and the fact that Georgia somehow just keeps right on churning. I just think it's an awesome thing.
Absolutely. Brandon, thank you so much again for taking the time to do this with us tonight. Obviously, you're a busy man, even outside of the 5-day-a-week schedule you run. I don't know how you do it. I particularly don't know how you've done it with your voice not giving you the best of times. So really appreciate you for just even taking the 15 minutes to be here with us tonight. Guys, I put up his Twitter. Y'all all know who he is. He needs no introduction, but make sure if you haven't already, go follow him over there at Dog Nation Daily and go subscribe over the Dog Nation YouTube channel. He will be live Monday through Friday, and we'll be at the games on Saturday covering the Dogs. So, Brandon, thank you so much again. We'll let you get back to your family, and like Eddie said and Andy said, happy Thanksgiving. And hey, when you feel better and there's a little bit more time, we'd love to get you back and see where everything ends up.
That sounds great, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and talk to y'all soon. Eddie, good to be with you too, and Andy, is you as well. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Brandon.
See you guys.
Thanks, Brandon.
See you.
That was the man himself, Brandon Adams, over of Dog Nation Daily. Does a fantastic job. I did not realize him and Eddie go back to the radio.
I didn't
know that.
I had no idea.
So that was really cool to hear on air.
I'm going to say, Harrison, probably 20 years ago when you were probably one.
Not born. Yeah,
maybe not born. Anyway, y'all know I call radio stations. I've been doing it my whole life. I love to do that, sports talk radio. 790 The Zone, and Brandon had a show at 10 o'clock with another guy named Jeff Wolverton. It was Brandon and Wolvie, and that's where I got to know Brandon. And I call the show all the time, and he's right. Back then, you could have a conversation on the air about sports and vent like we're doing now, talking about what happened Saturday, what happened with Falcons. But now he's right. Things have completely changed. I mean, 790 is now debunked. A lot of those guys are now at 680, some are at 92.9, the game or whatever it's called. But they hardly take calls. And I was going to interject when Brand was talking about that, how much has changed. Somebody put it up here. Maybe it was Chris Taylor. That now it's chats, and that's what we do. And that's what Brandon does before his show. He reads chats and calls people out and says, great point. Let's talk about that. And it's kind of changed a little bit. I'm not saying that's bad or good. It's just changed for the different, right? It's just interesting how it's evolved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, before, there was none of this, like there was no YouTube live. So, it's different, but it's he's great though. He has, he's got that perfect radio voice. And he seems like the nicest guy alive. So he's like a great dude.
He's a great guy, just a great guy.
Yeah.
And the other thing, before we move on, he's just like us. He's not only invested in the program, he's a fan. He loves this program. I mean, he has a little, I don't know. He calls it Eddie, I think. I don't know what it is. He has a blindfold on. It's like many days since Florida beat Georgia.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
It was because of God, why did he name it that? I did know.
I don't know. I don't know the backstory.
I knew the backstory. I mean,
he brings it up all the time. It's been however many days since Florida beat Georgia. He
hates
he lives
Florida.
it. Yeah, exactly. He's just like us. He hates Tech. He hates Florida. He's ingrained in the Georgia program, and I love that.
Yeah, he's
Chris. Maybe you're talking to somebody else, but I'm not sure. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I saw two Chris's. Chris Garcia. I apologize. There's a Chris Taylor out there. I thought he put that up. My apologies.
Damn it, Eddie, come on, lock in, Eddie.
Put that comment. The Dan Mullen said even a blind squirrel finds a nut. That's what it was. I knew it was something to do with Dan Mullen, and so he put the blindfold over the So
okay.
Yeah. I knew it was something to do with Dan Mullen. So
that makes it even better. The blind
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
That backstory works
And
out
that
awesome.
Mullen said it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. So
Well, Harrison,
all
you
right.
were at the game yesterday, right? How? I mean, what did you see? See anything good, or was it just one of those middle or end of
Say it.
November
Cash for clunker, just like Bill
cash
Shanks
for
calls
clunker?
them,
Bill
right?
Shanks, cash for clunker. Is it? I mean, was it anything exciting or just?
As I wrote in my column post game, if this is the last November game versus a 1-9 football team, non-SEC football team, good riddance.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm done with it. I didn't, obviously at the beginning of the year, they knocked out Marshall. They knocked out Austin P. You had the rain delay in Austin P, one of the most miserable games just in terms of the rain delay.
Yeah.
The board's on fire, goal line disaster. Andy's on here wanting to fire everybody the next day.
It was terrible. God, it was terrible.
Awful experience. And I get it. Look, Dan Lanning made headlines yesterday talking about how they were playing a real opponent and they weren't playing Montana State. And I get it. I get it why they're upset. I get it why he's upset. I get it why people complain about it. I really do. But we can't control it. I can't control it.
Right.
Now, they're going to a 9-game schedule. And maybe this is the last year where there's SEC Cupcake Week. And if it is, great, because it's not good for the product. It's not.
No.
I mean, you saw, I know people got really upset about the stadium photos, which I don't understand, guys. Like, if you get so offended about the stadium photos and what they show, then fix the problem. Show up to the games. But it wasn't interesting. We didn't expect it to be interesting. I don't like it. I want good games. Obviously, toward the end of the year, this is the time of the year where you're supposed to be getting ready for the playoffs. So I 100% understand and get it. But at the end of the day, as we always talk about, just as Indiana fans say, just like Oregon fans will say about their schedule being weak, you play the schedule you play. And some of the issues for Georgia this year, some of the schedule issues weren't entirely on their fault. They were supposed to go to UCLA this season and go play at UCLA in the Rose Bowl. So my thoughts on this whole thing, if this is it for the November Cupcake Week, I'm cool with it because I love the 6 or 7 straight weeks we had of just SEC football games. They're entertaining football games. And I know they might prompt heartburn. And yes, you will lose some. Inevitably, you will lose some. But it makes for a better product. It makes for a better experience for everybody.
It was also awful timing for you and everybody else, Harrison, coming off last week. I mean, that was one of the best games we watched all year against Texas, and it was everything you could ask for as a fan.
Amazing atmosphere.
Right? The place was electric. I mean, unbelievable. And then you come into this at 12:45, and you're like, 1-9 Charlotte? Seriously? I mean, we don't want to watch this. The players don't even want to play in it. I'm exaggerating. They want to play football, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, you can't get up. You can't get excited for that.
You can't. Kirby can say everything he wants, but the players just like, whatever, let's roll the football out and move on to Tech. And that's exactly what they did. So,
well, did you listen to Kirby's post-game press conference, Eddie? He said that was a team that was overmatched by size and skill. I mean, it's like,
he even said I wasn't happy with the run game.
Yeah, he said, but exactly. So it was, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, how can you, like, really, if you're playing, you're the Georgia
Bulldogs. You can't
Bulldogs,
make any judgments off of these games.
Yeah, but it's just like you're the Georgia Bulldogs and you're playing
right?
that team. Like, you look at, like, you line up as the left tackle and the guy lining up in front of you, you're outweighing him by 75 pounds and you're 5 inches taller than him. I mean, come on, Yeah. Well, of course we did that at TCU as well, but same thing. I just like, it is what it is. That was one of those things. I mean, I thought it was good. I really enjoyed seeing the young guys get a lot of playing time. I thought that was good. And plus, Drew Bobo is injured and, he's got the cut. So they were able to get him out of there. So I thought it was good for that. And Harrison, just to make sure I know, we didn't have any injuries or anything bad going on after that game, did we?
I mean, Cortez Smith went down somewhere in the fourth quarter, I believe, but I never heard whether or not that was serious. I don't even know if he went back. Like I said, that was when I was walking to the field or going down to the field to be there for post-game stuff. So I'm not even sure if he got back on the field. Y'all would know that better than I do.
Real quick before we move on from this, this is a perfect example. So I was in the mountains with my immediate family watching this game, and my sister is there with me, she went to Georgia, but she could care less about sports. She was an art major, all that kind of stuff. Could care less about sports. So I had the game on. And she looked at the score and she's like, it's 28-0. Why are you still watching this? And I had to explain to her, well, Charlotte's 1-9. They're terrible. And then she said, well, why are y'all playing them? And I said, well, we give them a lot of money to come play us. She said, wait a minute. We give money to Charlotte for them to come get their butt kicked. And I was like, I had to explain this. Just think about what I'm explaining here. And I'm like, well, Charlotte's a newer program. I think they started in 2013. They're trying to get their program up and running. We give them millions of dollars. It helps them going on. She said, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you play a team that's terrible and give them money to come to your stadium? So you're exactly right, Harrison. It's all just silliness. It's just so stupid that we do this thing, but it is what it is. We got to do it and move on.
That's funny you say that, because my sister, she asked me, she said, where was Georgia playing at today? I said, well, they were in Athens. I said, they were playing Charlotte. She's like, oh, I just didn't know if they were to play at Charlotte. I was like, no. I was like, they will never take a trip to Charlotte. And she said, well, maybe if they got, a lot of money to go up there. I said, no. I was like, we pay Charlotte to come get the crap kicked out of them. She was like, wait a minute, what? I was like, yep, that's how it goes down. Exactly. I was like, it's one of those deals. So, but yeah, it is what it is. I wish we even
I'm supposed to invite people that chat to my mountain retreat with my family. Is that where we are now?
Clearly,
I thought we're part of your family.
Hell, hey, wait a minute. I wouldn't invite Harrison or Andy to this thing, much less you idiots chatting here. I mean, come on. Are you serious?
Straight hating. He would invite John Deere Green before he'd invite me. Clearly, he would not invite me.
That is a lie.
That's not a lie.
That's hurtful, Andy. So go ahead, Harrison.
Damn. I thought we were family. I thought the Peach State Power was family. I guess that's why Paul left, because Paul didn't feel like family. Shoot.
Eddie pushed him out. So
yeah, I'll get it. Speaking of Paul, where's our favorite prima donna? I haven't seen him in chat. Is Paul here tonight?
Big Brother may be on. I don't know.
Apparently y'all wined and dined him, and then he hasn't been on the podcast since. Yeah. Y'all went to Grindhouse, and that was it. The last we saw of Paul.
Yes, we ruined him.
So
that's right.
I guess we did. Gentlemen, I guess let's dig further into this game. I know there's not much. Actually, no. Well, I'm not sure. Do y'all want to move on to tech?
Let's move on to tech. Yeah, let's go on to tech.
Well, can we just point out? I mean, come on. Now, wait a minute. Before we do that, let's point out a couple of kids that are, younger kids that got on the field, made some plays.
Okay.
This was their day to shine. You don't want to do that, Harrison?
Yeah.
No, I mean, look. We all saw what Bo Walker did, and we can talk about it. From my perspective, I was not able to see much of, obviously, the guys that y'all saw in the fourth quarter. So, and to be honest with you, there was no bigger than Bo Walker. But yes, there were a lot of names on the field that day. The stat sheet was filled with them. Man. I think the one way to describe Bill Walker's performance was explosive. Just
he looks good.
Run on counter, that first touchdown he had. As a true freshman running back, to hit that hole, to cut that inside before it even opened up was impressive.
Yeah,
he looks really impressive.
He looks like he may not have that fifth gear, that extra speed right at the end, but he can hit that hole and he explodes through it. It looks like a one cut and go back. So yeah, he's fun to watch. I think he's going to be a problem for a lot of teams coming up. But Eddie, you talk about a lot of the young guys. It was good. You saw CJ Wiley getting some catches and getting in there, and Thomas Blackshear. It was good to see those guys. So I understand what Harrison is saying. I get it, but yeah, it was good to see all these young guys get experience, because like we talked about with Ryan Puglisi getting, he went 7 for 11, 49 yards. I mean, it wasn't, he didn't knock it out of the ballpark, but he's one play away from starting quarterback, so I'm glad to see those guys get those plays. So
sure.
But was there anyone specifically that stood out to you outside of Bo Walker, Eddie?
I love to see Rashawn Dinkins. I've been high on this kid.
Yeah, you love that guy.
I saw him play at Warner Robins last year.
Yeah.
And, he was a second leading tackler, and he's out there flying around. I'm telling you guys, he's going to be the next Javon Bullard-like player. He's that good. He's
that good.
Player,
we're in a good spot, because that guy's
But he's learning, and he's on the field. That's what you want to see, right? Because you can't. Kirby says it all the time. You can't simulate what we're seeing in the games in practice. They have to have game game time reps. And that's what, Harrison, I know you hated it, but this is what you got to have to get these secondary and tertiary players on the field to get real live game time. Ryan Montgomery, he saw real live snaps, and you cannot simulate that in practice. It's just not the same. So that's why I watched the whole game, to see some of these younger players coming through the system, and they're going to be our future. That's what excited me.
Look, I love it for those guys, but like we all agree, for the product, it's not great in November. You can get these games done early in the season. You can still have, but hey.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Harrison. In a perfect world, would you play any of these types of games at all during the regular season? Any of them? You're the commissioner, and you can say whatever you want. Go. How would you do this?
In a perfect world, no. But in a realistic world, you got to play at least one.
No, I didn't. I said in a perfect world. I didn't say in a realistic world. I said in a perfect world, how would you, the commissioner, do this?
Well, in a perfect world, every game's one is like a must-watch. In a perfect world, but that doesn't exist. We know that. So, in a perfect world, you're playing conference play throughout the month of November. In a perfect world, minus Georgia Tech.
Okay.
Minus Georgia Tech.
Okay.
That's it. You know? But like I said,
what about if you played?
So much
what about? I've always said this. What if every team could schedule that preseason week 0 game as the Charlotte game? You kind of start the year that way, and then you play the rest of the 11 games are meaningful games. What about that?
Look, the one thing I do like about this, if there is a positive, it's that the kids who are never and will never be guaranteed playing time work the whole season.
Yeah.
And get finally to a point. Yeah, it pays off in terms of they get to play. And that's the great thing about this. And especially on senior night, like I don't know how senior night becomes more effective than having a game like this for senior night, because then you get to play the walk-ons that gave everything to the university for 4 years without ever knowing if they were ever going to play. Like that's where games like this is perfect, and it's awesome to see. But at the same time, you're just trying to balance it with, on the other side of, hey, we want to give the fans something where they can show up and this still be a profitable thing, where we're not just paying Charlotte $900,000 that we're not going to see back because fans don't want to show up at the game.
So it was more of a timing thing for you than Harrison, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can have these games. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm always here for marquee games, and I understand you're not going to want to play all 12 games versus SEC competition. I get it. It's not a great idea. You're going to get hurt. And yes, you're dealing with 18 through 23-year-olds. Like, yeah, it's going to be hard to get up for every game. But my whole gripe is, hey, it's just timing of it in November. You want to have more entertaining games. Right. Having basically a throwaway week in terms of whole conference just kind of sucks. Is my whole gripe about this thing. But like I said, there are positives. Seeing a guy like Brandon Mathis, who probably much of y'all didn't even know who he was until he played yesterday. That's awesome. That's the type of things that you want to see. You want to see those guys get experience, and that's a lifelong memory that those guys will forever have, that they got to put on that Georgia uniform, they got to dress out, and they got to go play in front of the 60,000 or 70,000 people that were there that day. Like that's what those guys work for. All right. Football Paul. I called you out for being late. I called you out for going to Grindhouse, whining, dining, my good friends, and then not showing back up until now. Before that, Eddie said we weren't family and wasn't going to invite us to the mountains, and said he would never invite us somewhere with his family. And so I said, oh, well, now I see why Paul left, because he didn't feel like family.
Yep.
And then other people in the comments decided that, you just weren't good enough anyways. So yeah. Air your grievances.
They agreed with me.
Yeah. Damn. All right. He's back here in style. These were the type of games where the only ones Eddie got on the field in high school. Can't get rid of these.
At least I played. At least I strapped it on and played.
All right. Let's talk about this Georgia Tech game. And before we get there, how the heck do they get caught looking ahead? You're in your best season in forever.
I don't
and you
think
just
they
go
did.
lay an absolute egg.
I don't think they got
I
caught
do.
looking ahead. I don't think they got caught looking ahead. There's no way, because they knew they had to have that game to win the ACC, to get in there, to play it, to get to the playoff. They were not looking ahead to Georgia. They just got beat. That's it.
Really? Brent
That's what it
Key,
is.
after every game, says to hell with Georgia. He doesn't say to hell with Pitt.
Screw
the
Brent
guy's a
Key.
clown.
Screw Brent Key.
No, but he's a clown. All he
they were
thinks about
not-
is Georgia 24/7.
I think they just got beat, and the only excuse is, oh, they were looking ahead to Georgia. Look, I don't know how much of y'all watched that game. I watched a good bit of that Tech.
I watched the entire thing. It was a good game, actually. It was fun to watch.
I think we're going to stomp them. They're not. Their defense is Swiss cheese. They're not going to be able to stop us. We are going to run the ball on that team all day long. I think we are going to see Gunner on the run options. He's going to pull it. He's going to have some just straight up quarterback powers. And there's no way Tech was thinking, oh, we're going to beat this team. But I mean, I know they got blew out the week before by Notre Dame, but still they were not looking ahead. They just got beat. It's just because they're not that good. We're going to beat the crap out of this team. Plain and simple.
Well, I'll go on the other side of that, Andy. You're right. I think their defense is not very good. I mean, they got shredded by Boston College, who's 1-10. I mean, terrible. And they should have lost to Wake Forest, right? I mean, we can go through all the games, but all they got to do is stop Haynes King. I mean, I know Jamal Haynes is a good running back.
He is a good running back. Yeah.
Okay, name another threat. Brett Seither at tight end. Is he a threat? I mean, that's about it. They don't have any more threats, do they, on offense? I
haven't seen any.
That's just reality. So you key in on Haynes King. CJ Allen's going to be back healthy, I think, right, Harrison, for this game. I think he's going to play. I don't know how healthy he's going to be, but I said
CJ Allen.
I said CJ Allen.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. I think he's back for this game. But whatever, even if he's not, who cares? I mean, they're going to key in on Haynes and make him beat them. And we saw it with our own eyes last night. He does not have a good arm when things break down. I mean, that pick six was awful. That was a horrible pick six. So I'm kind of with Andy. I think this is a 2-score game.
The way I feel on it, and I'll just go ahead and point this out. I think Andy has had Georgia just dog stomping everybody this year. So and we've all had a perfect middle ground here. I'm always somewhere in the middle between Andy and Eddie.
Yeah.
Now, I think Eddie had Georgia going like 5-7 originally this season, if I remember correctly.
That's just not even true.
He did.
I had him 2 losses.
He had him.
I missed the loss by Auburn. By the way,
2-10.
Go ahead, Harrison. Just go ahead.
I know you're about to say. You were about to talk about your pie. That's what you were about to say right there about that Auburn prediction. I'm messing with you. I think this follows a similar trend to the Texas game. I think this is a 1 or 2 score game going into the fourth, and I think that's where Georgia pulls away. I think that's how I see it. I don't, because both teams are going to try and grind this out a little bit and squat on the ball a little bit. They're going to lean on their run games. Georgia loves when an opponent decides they want to play in a phone booth with you. And if you want to play Georgia in a phone booth and you want to play this game in the box, Georgia's going to play this game in the box with you. And Georgia's going to try and absolutely maul you. So I think this is a tight game going into the fourth just because of the styles of these two offenses. But at the end of the day, as it has been all this year, the game is how long does it take for Georgia's defense to get a stop? And then how quickly does Georgia's offense capitalize on it, and then make this game a win for them? Okay. I think this is a 1-score game going into the fourth, but it ends up being I'm going to say a 3-score game in total. I think 17-point win is where I sit right now.
All right, Harrison, have you looked at the
you just said you were in the middle. You're not in the middle. Wait a minute. Wait. Harrison's just a moron because he said he was in the middle. Andy said blowout. I said 14 points, and then Harrison's above me. So you're not in the middle, son. Do you do math?
I am. Andy has this, I assume, above 17 points.
Well,
I'm at 17. You're at 14. I'm in the middle.
A blowout is like, I mean, if you beat somebody by 14, 17 points, that's a pretty big game. But no, okay. Anyway, do you know what the point spread is, Harrison? Have you looked?
I do not. But
All right,
hold
well,
on.
guess.
I do.
Our
No,
friend Patrick Garvin.
Don't look it up. I know what it is.
Don't look. I want to hear your guess.
Yeah,
Take
guess.
a guess.
I'm gonna say 8.5.
12 and a half. The boys in Vegas think we're going to kill this team.
Andy, I saw one today that was 14. Am I
So
wrong?
here's
What
about
was
the
the
that?
Mississippi State line? What was the Mississippi State line? Was Mississippi State a closer line than Georgia?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I can look it up.
I don't know.
But before I look it up, I
I
want
saw,
this right
I
here.
saw one today that was 14. Am I not crazy, Andy?
No, you're not crazy. I'm sure it's probably moved. But look, here's the thing. Their quarterback, he went 20 for 27 for 226 yards and 2 touchdowns against this defense. Their halfback rushed for 21 times for 201 yards. They had 186 rushing yards as a team. And then Kenny
Are you talking
Johnson,
about
wide
Pitt?
yes,
You're
Pitt.
talking about Pitt.
They
Okay.
went up and down the field on these
Yeah,
losers.
yeah.
We are going to kick the crap out of them. Come halfway through the third quarter, we'll be up by 2 touchdowns. We'll end up winning this game by and now it may be 17. I do think that's in the range because we'll start with the death march. But yes, we're going to win it. It's going to be a very comfortable, easy win come Friday at 3:30. They are going to control this
Will Brent
team.
King
And
cry if we beat him out? If we beat him by that much?
he's probably crying right now,
Does he
knowing that
cry
Kirby. And the thing is, we've got to beat them. This will be the 8th win in a row for the Dogs. That will
Yep.
tie the drought,
agree.
as Jeff Danzler calls it. We are going to smoke this team. Kirby will not let that happen, and we're going to beat the crap
Harrison,
out of
let
them.
me ask you a question. Do you hate Georgia Tech like Andy and I do? And it's okay if you say no.
He does not.
I'm gonna be honest. The way I approach these games, because I'm up in the press box, is trying to be an analyst
Okay.
of it.
All
So
right.
like,
Remove all that.
Take
As a
that hat off.
fan, a Georgia student, do you hate Georgia Tech like Andy and I do?
probably I would say no. But
knew it.
my one, I guess the one
Who's your
difference
one?
would be
Who's
my
your
one difference would be I also have a brother that went to Georgia Tech, so I didn't grow up being around Georgia Tech, but I've met some good people at Georgia Tech, which makes it harder. I've never met some great people that are Florida fans.
Oh my God. So have I. That's irrelevant. All right, Harrison, as a fan, who's your number one hater? Who do you hate more than anybody?
Shoot, I tell you what, based off Twitter, Tennessee is obviously the most annoying fan base.
And I will agree with that. They think they're Alabama. They think they win everything, even though they are more of like a Mississippi State. And that may be the worst fan base just because they have this false
I would
sense of
agree with
we're
that.
elite. Yeah,
I would
like
agree with
they're terrible. So
But for me, I'll just tell you the ranking from an old
It's
guy.
absolutely a rivalry game. It's absolutely
Okay.
a rivalry game. Even with the dominance, it's a rivalry game.
But for me, it's Florida, it's Georgia Tech, and then it's Auburn. Right there. Those are my 3. Hate 'em.
From when you say Georgia's biggest rivalries, in my opinion, it is Florida. I put Auburn at 2, and then I put Tech at 3. And I
Okay.
know 20 years ago,
Okay.
you probably
So we're close.
You might flip it. You might flip it. So, but just with the recent trend and how this has gone,
Yeah.
I think Auburn's probably 2. You might be able to even make a case that Tennessee is fighting to be in the top 3.
Yeah,
But
they're
then
creeping
again,
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're making a case. But right now, I think Tech's still a top 3 rival. And I think if it wasn't for these last 2 games with how close they've been, maybe I'm already at Tennessee being number 3.
Yeah.
But
That makes me
Chris
feel
Taylor,
better.
Chris
I'm glad
Taylor
you
makes a
said that.
very good point. He said that's because you haven't lost to Tech much. When Tech was beating us some, they are. You talk about a terrible fan base. They are because they'll sit there.
Look
they'll-
at
Oh, it's already started.
Look at baby. Look at Paul. Look at Paul being a
Right.
Gen Zer.
Paul
This
is
man
not
has
wrong.
Bama as his number 1 rival.
Paul is not wrong. I was going
That's not
to
a
say,
rivalry.
well, because they beat the crap out of us every year, but that is
Exactly.
but it's still a rivalry. But
It's not though.
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
It is a rivalry. How's it not a
It's
rivalry?
not.
There's just not enough history between the two, other than being
We play
border
Tech
rivals.
and Florida every damn year. We don't play Bama every year. That's
Yeah, we
been
do.
the tradition. No, we don't.
Yeah.
We
We
don't
play them in
play
the
Bama
SEC
every
championship.
year.
We play them in the SEC championship every year.
Well, Okay, the regular season. That's
and
that's a
shoot 'em. Hang on.
chance. That's a
He said
coin flip.
Tennessee fans are a special breed. It's called inbred. That's the correct spelling. But but no, Bama. Right now, Bama is the only hurdle we've got over it once. That is the only hurdle we can't get over, and so it's. And Paul's going to, I see he's talking about the Georgia Tech. There's a very good point. Put that up. Put Paul's comment. Yes, Eddie, you just got schooled, son. With the logic, then GT isn't a rivalry since Georgia beats.
I guess he has a point, but
Yeah, he's got a good point.
Historically, I don't consider Alabama a rival. Historically,
Right.
Georgia Tech's a rival.
Right. Because they play
Agreed.
them every year. That's
100%
the difference. And I understand what Paul's saying. We're on this winning streak, but these things flip. Okay. And for years we went through, as an old guy, I went through Tech beating our ass every year and it was not fun. So that's the difference. We play them every year. We play Tennessee every year. We play Auburn every year. We play Florida every year. Bama kind of comes up in the rotation. And more recently, we've seen them a lot for sure. But I mean, come on, we lose every time we play Bama. So, it's just different. It's just different.
Here's a good question.
I hate Georgia Tech. I hate them.
Georgia lost to Auburn last that I remember was 2017. Georgia lost to Tech in 2016. Georgia lost to Tennessee in 2016 as well.
Yeah,
that's right.
Those were all and that was since I was in middle school, all of them, right there. So, good question by Alex Page.
Yeah.
I just look. I think this will be a close game going into the fourth, but I think it follows the similar trend to Texas Georgia's, where I said Andy thinks this is at least a 17-point win.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think we will start opening it up like prior to the fourth. I think we'll start stepping away from them midway through the third, or even at the beginning. I could see that middle eight Kirby's.
That's comment of the day right there. Marsh Mutt. If you know, you know.
And Marsh Mutt may be older than me. That's why you put that up there. So.
But
I didn't know those people existed.
I could see that that we open it up midway, like that middle eight that Kirby's always talking about. I could see us like scoring right at half and then coming out scoring at half and go ahead and icing it then. So I think we're going to dominate them.
Eddie, remind me, you said 14, right?
I said what? Oh yeah, we're gonna win by 14.
Okay, yeah. Let us know your comments, or let us know your predictions, or at least point spread in the comments below. I saw Primetime Dog gave us one 38-17.
I like it. I could see that.
I think somewhere in the 30s is that magic number for Georgia. In terms of
let me ask you guys real quick. What if Tech had won last night? Would this spread be a lot closer, and would y'all be more nervous about it?
I wouldn't be more nervous.
I still feel like even if they had won, I was telling somebody the other day, even before the weekend, I was like, I think it's a similar trend to the Texas game, and it comes down to the fourth quarter and Georgia pulls away.
Okay.
Now look,
so
if this ends up being
the loss last night was irrelevant.
No, if anything, it's given me a little bit more confidence, 3 points extra confidence in Georgia. I think maybe if you would have asked me last Thursday what I was thinking, I probably would have said Georgia by 14, like Andy or like you. But I think maybe after last night, I've added another 3 points.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Andy, same.
That game versus that game made me feel more confident because I watched a team that does not have anywhere near the team that we have go up and down on Georgia Tech. I feel like I see Phyllis says 42-17. I'm thinking somewhere in that range because I think we're going to beat this team to death. That whole crap last year with the eight overtimes and they almost beat us, and give them credit, they did, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades or whatever. So I feel confident. So
horseshoe, hand grenades, and guessing Eddie's age is where close counts.
73.
All right. One more thing before we move on. Do you guys think there's a scenario where Georgia could lose this game?
No.
Go to the SEC championship, lose that game, and be left out. You already said no. You knew what I was going to ask. And be left out.
I was saying they can't lose this game. I was saying they're not losing this game. That was my scenario.
No, that's not what I asked. They lose.
I got
Let's
you.
just say, I'm just
That's
playing
a very good
scenario.
question.
They lose to Tech, and they lose to Bama in the SEC championship again. Are we left out?
That's a very good question because Oklahoma's probably going to be 10-2. Ole Miss will be 11-1. I mean, Mississippi State's not beating Ole Miss.
I mean, look, if that happens and that's how they get to 9-3, then yes, they could absolutely be left out. But will that happen? Eileen, no.
I mean,
it could, but I could also win the lottery tomorrow. So
that's a good point. Okay. All right. Here's another scenario for you. Just throwing this out there. And in the comments.
Which, by the way, if I do, Eddie, since I'm not part of this family mountain trip, I will not give you a slice of it. I'll give Andy it.
Me and Harrison will go on a trip. So.
Yeah, we'll go on a trip. And Edward, as Phyllis just called him, can stay home.
Well, that's my full name. Phyllis is exactly right. He knows the deal.
All right. So I want to know right now, do you guys, and in the comments you answer too, do you want either Texas or Alabama to lose where we go to the SEC championship game? Do you want to play in it or do you not want to play in it? Eddie?
Are you asking us or okay?
Yes. I'm asking y'all and in the comments. The comments can do it.
This is you're gonna find this funny. So on the way home tonight from our mountain trip, which was family only, not you idiot.
That's right. Get him out of here. Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Harrison, what about you? Do you want to
do I want Georgia to play in the SEC championship? Right now, I say no.
Okay.
I just look, winning the SEC, I get it. It's been really rare for Georgia, especially compared to championships in the Smart era up until like last year.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a road for them to get a bye in the first round bye, even without playing in it. Like I think the Rick Neuheisel prediction of they could get a double bye week, I don't see how that doesn't happen unless maybe they decide the Big 10 or the Big 12 champion is a fourth seed. Maybe and maybe the loser of the Big 10. Maybe they put the Big 12 in there and they decide the Big 10 gets two teams with a bye, depending on how that shakes out. But I don't think I want Georgia to play in there because I just, after losing your quarterback there last year, I'm just like, what really does it give you other than, hey, you won the SEC?
Well, he may get hurt tomorrow in practice. So
and very true. And this and let's not talk about injuries in practice or anything like that because I don't want to get this man going on preseason stuff because there's already enough to talk about with that
All right. Okay. Well, I'm asking you one more then.
Do I not get the answer because y'all just kick me off the damn air for saying something?
All right. Do you
We're
want?
not family.
I'd like to have. Can I have some input, please?
Go.
We'll think about it.
Go.
So I was driving back from the mountains today with my beautiful bride. We were
us.
talking about the SEC championship, and she asked me. She said point blank, "Do you want to be in the SEC championship?" And I said, originally I'd say no, just like Harrison. I don't want any part of it. But the more I've thought about this, the more I'm like, you know what? It's another Saturday to watch my beloved Bulldogs come on the field and play.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. If they make it, count me in. I mean, I love watching this team play in big games, Harrison, like you're talking about. We got a big game Friday. We might have another big game in the Mercedes-Benz right after it. Why not? I'm on board. Fine with me.
Me too.
I think Susan Levy makes a good point talking about time off. Too much time off worries you.
I agree.
Especially with the team that seems to be elevating right now, that's in ascension mode.
Yeah.
I agree. Maybe it's better to have
too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's better to have the momentum keep rolling and having those games. But as we've talked about, even like we said, with playing more games means you get more chances to pick up more and more momentum. There's also more and more chance you can have an injury, which Georgia's already dealt with their fair share of them this year. So it's trying to find the middle ground here. Gentlemen, we are 54 minutes in. We have not touched on any of the other three segments.
Okay. Let's skip to the end. But hang on, let me ask you one. I want your prediction right now. All right, Harrison.
I'm not skipping to the end. I want to hit two things with the other thing, and then we got to roll. So
all right, so roll on this. Does Texas or Texas A&M win the football game, and does Alabama or Auburn win the football game?
Eddie, you go first.
I just have this sneaking suspicion Texas is going to beat Texas A&M. I don't know why. I think Alabama's going to take care of Auburn somehow, and I think Texas is going to do whatever they need to do, and they're going to beat. And they're fighting for their playoff lives. And so Bama's not.
Did you see Deuce Knight?
Yes.
That quarterback. I think Auburn and Texas.
Yeah.
I think Auburn and Texas win the game. So.
Wow. So that puts us with Ole Miss, right? If that happens.
For y'all gambling folks
out
here, I think Texas is winless when I've picked them to cover this year. So I'm taking A&M to win.
Okay.
And I guess I will take them to cover. So if y'all want to put money on that game, maybe you're going to put money on Texas because I've picked A&M to cover and win with that question. But I think Texas A&M wins, and I think Bama holds on. It sounds like Auburn's playing Ashton Daniels, which
we're out.
Yeah. It sounds like Auburn's playing Ashton Daniels, not Deuce Knight, which I don't know. Obviously, Deuce Knight played really impressive. It was versus Mercer of all teams.
It was.
But it was impressive nonetheless.
He looked good.
For the first game of the season.
Yeah, he looked good.
He did.
All right. Let's hit these other few segments because we're already 55 minutes in, and we know Eddie goes to bed extremely, extremely early. I didn't watch the Falcons game. So whatever the heck y'all want to talk about that, let's talk about it. I saw Kirk had a nice throw to Darnell Mooney.
Hold on, let me check.
Yeah, it was.
They
hung
on and won.
Yeah, they ended up winning it.
Congratulations. They won. Hey, the Falcons won 24-10. Great. Let's just move on. Who gives a crap? We don't need to talk 1 second about that team. I don't care. Do you, Andy?
4-7. Who gives a crap? I mean,
you're going to reel off a couple wins and can keep Raheem Morris. Great.
Kirko went 16-23 for 199 yards and 2 TDs. I mean, Bijan only had 14 carries. You know, it's like, come on.
Whoopie frickin' do.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Now, wait, I will say one positive. Jalen Walker had some sacks. James Pierce had some sacks. They are putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So I'll give the defense some credit. Other than that, I don't care.
Agreed.
All right. Let's talk Georgia basketball real quick. Obviously lost to Clemson today in a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that sucked.
Beat Xavier the other day on Friday, which was good. Didn't get to watch that football game because obviously I was coming back from our basketball game because I was coming back from a football game. But I will say the same thing. This team is entertaining to watch while simultaneously being frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
They cannot shoot the ball at all consistently.
That's not good. I don't.
Well, they lost 97-94 to Clemson today in overtime, and I didn't think they'd compete as well as they did against Clemson. I mean, they forced it to overtime, but you're going through lulls. Harrison, you mentioned it, 4 minutes without scoring a point. I'm like, well, what are we doing? I mean, you got to score some points, and then they're 30% from three. You know, I mean, what are we 6-1 now, Andy? Isn't that right? I mean,
yeah. I think so. Yeah.
So you got SEC play coming up. That's not going to cut it in the SEC. So I'm a little concerned, even though we're 6-1. They have some players. You know, Jeremiah Wilkinson is a hell of a basketball player. But I don't know. It's just it's hard to gauge right now. I'll put it that way. Hard.
Yeah. I listened to the game while I was cutting grass today, and it was kind of an up and down roller coaster type thing. But they're, you know, hey, they were in there, and Clemson's pretty good. So.
That's it. Chris Taylor hit on it, and I said this to you guys, Andy, in the text. I said, when it comes to a half court, they can't score.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're running up and down the floor, they can score all day long. But a half court offense, they just get lost. And it's just like, what are you doing?
But is that coaching? That's the problem. Is that coaching issue? Or?
Partly coaching. I think it's partly coaching. Yes.
I think it's partly coaching and they just don't have a premier scorer.
Okay.
No, they don't. That's exactly right.
And with where they're at in location and proximity with the number of talent that comes out of Atlanta and Georgia in general, it's like, why can't you get one?
Yeah.
It's the same question people have been asking about Georgia basketball for the last 20 years.
Jacob Wilkins is going to be a highlight factory like his dad, because that's kind of what he is. But he's jacking up threes and he can't make anything. You know, he's not a very good shooter at this point. So I don't know. We got a ways to go. We'll see how they do.
They can't shoot a loaded Glock. That's hilarious.
It was nice to see, though, in terms of playing actual competition, that they held their own. You hold on and you beat a power forward or a good team, and Xavier may not be great, and then you take Clemson to the limit. We'll see how good Clemson's going to be in the ACC this year. But nonetheless, it was nice to see them play real competition and look at least decent in those games. Scoring what, 94?
Yeah.
Scored 94 in OT versus
Went to
Clemson.
overtime.
Yeah. So nice to see on those. Yeah. When they do have one, they struggle to win games. Shout out Tom Crean in that era. There was a lot of talent on that roster that won you with Ant. And
they did have
that's one of the just biggest what if eras. It's like, man, what could have done if they were able to retain that? All right. Everyone's favorite segment, Georgia High School Power playoff now.
Playoffs, yeah.
Scoreboard update. Andy, what do you got for us this week?
What I did, I went through and looked at the local teams, or the close to us, the team. So I went through, and so in the private school class, Prince Avenue beat Wesleyan 41-6 to advance to play Hebron Christian, and also Athens Academy beat Holly Innocence. I've never even heard of that. 48-37. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, sorry, that's a Holly, but holy, yeah. But yeah, they won, so they're advancing to play next week as well. In Class A, Raven County, they beat Berrien County 35-0. They're going to play next week versus Pepperell. In AAA ball, Jefferson beat Harlan 49-14, and they're going to play Cairo. Quad A, North Oconee beat MLK 42-21, and they will be playing the Fighting War Eagles of Marist. Eddie's going to be torn. And who beat Blessed Trinity?
The Fighting Eddies.
They Marist beat Blessed Trinity 28-10. So that's going to be a game.
And that's a rematch, just to let everybody know, of North Oconee versus Marist last year in the state championship when North Oconee beat Marist. So.
Yeah.
And North Oconee, but he's out. He's out for the year, so that's a big loss for North Oconee. So
hang on, who did you say is out for the year? You broke up a little bit.
Kamari Brooks, their best player, who's coming to Georgia. So sorry.
All right, so 5A ball, Jackson County beat Milton 24-19, and they're going to play Rome. And Gainesville beat Brunswick 42-0. I mean, they blew them out, and they're going to play Hughes. And then in 6A, of course, Buford, they win every week. They beat Newton 31-14, and they're going to play Douglas County. North Gwinnett beat Lowndes 29-17 to play West Forsyth. And Carrollton beat Harrison 51-6 to play Grayson, who beat Colquitt County 31-10. So those are most of the local places around here that was still in the playoffs. And it looks like it's coming down to it because now I guess they're in the – I guess it's
Final
the Elite 8. Yeah, the Elite 8. Yeah, I guess so, or whatever. Yeah. So we'll be looking at semifinals next week. So, Eddie, you going to supporting?
Eddie, you got a question.
I'm going to do Alex. I'm going to be doing both because Marist is at night. The Dogs play at 3:30, as you know, so that game will be over, and I'll be watching Marist after that. So it's a perfect day for me. I might even go, Harrison.
Early question. I see we have talk about Buford and Newton. Obviously, Buford won. It seems like it's shaping up for a Buford-Grayson state championship game.
Yeah.
I asked this to folks up in the press box on Saturday. Who are y'all taking right now in that game, if that's the matchup we get?
What was the consensus when you asked in the press box?
Buford right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Buford's hard to go against Buford.
Yeah, they're like a college.
Great. I mean, you can't just discount.
It's a really good matchup, though.
Loaded.
Like,
it's
really a really good matchup.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, we might have some news on. I'm trying. If Marist makes it to the state championship game, I'm trying to see if I can get Eddie in the building. And we'll go watch that game.
Well, I'll get in the building. You're talking about down on the field and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll get in the building.
We're gonna talk about that post show, for sure.
John Green's comment's hilarious. Buford University, and it is. It is that
$65 million stadium. I mean, come on,
it's crazy,
it's ridiculous.
Boys, did y'all see the thing out of Gainesville this weekend? Or I guess it was Brunswick. I know Go Dog just talked about it earlier. That brawl, was insane.
Yeah,
that was insane.
I saw Andy over at On 3 just reported that a decision in terms of suspensions are coming.
Really?
And I hate it for both sides. I really hate it for obviously Gainesville because it's going to affect those players in terms of their future in the playoffs. But I also hate it for Brunswick in terms of, that's something those kids are not going to forget, and that's going to stick with them.
Yeah.
We'll see what comes in terms of legal things. Hopefully, that all gets sorted out and can move on from it. Not a good day for Georgia high school football when that occurred.
Nope.
Yeah, not good on any side of things. So hopefully no injuries were sustained. Hope everyone's okay. Not what you want to see. Before we go, I wanted to show this. This was kind of funny. And we'll quiz because we got 2 people over here on the show that have been on it. By the way, shout out Jason Katz. Yeah, that's
Who knows?
Info on the dog vent, right,
UJSports.com.
Harrison? Info
Yep,
on the dog vent? Yeah.
Go over to the dog vent. You can read that full report that Anthony Dasher and Rodney DeBolsey got on that. Again, another news story that's not a good thing for anyone involved.
Weird situation.
I think I'm glad to hear that no one was hurt any of this. That's always the positive in all of this. Go subscribe to UJSports.com. Get your first week for $1. Get a complimentary year as a bonus to The Athletic. Good stuff over there over at UJSports.com. Good people over there at UJSports.com. And before we go, can anyone tell me the legend behind NASCAR Dog? Do we know who that is, people? Eddie, Andy, y'all been around long enough to know who this is?
I see him on the vent. Yeah. I see him on the
You
vent.
don't know who it is?
I don't know who it is.
All right, let's blow your mind here then. Gentlemen, that is 3-year Letterman.
Really?
That is his vent alias. Awesome stuff.
How about that? I didn't know that. I see him on the vent. I didn't know he was.
Yeah. So American hero, as he says.
Before we go, I want to wish you both a happy Thanksgiving. I do love you guys. You are part of my family. You know, I give you all crap.
Don't
really
blow smoke off our butt right now. You had your chance earlier. Damn,
can I
Andy, why are you
finish?
flicking them off?
I wasn't. My nose was itching. Whatever. So.
Who itches his nose?
Yeah, I can't even be serious with you guys. I don't even.
No, you're good.
Know why
you're good. You're good.
Ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
All right. So Thanksgiving. I hope y'all both have a great Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to both of you. Andy, Harrison, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Well, I mean, obviously,
I don't even know if it's officially.
You got to have turkey, though, right? You got to have turkey. I mean,
well, that's a dish. I mean, if that's your favorite thing, run with it.
Yeah, you got to have some turkey. Yeah, so I love some turkey.
All right. Simple. That's good. Harrison?
I don't even know if it's considered official, like, Thanksgiving dish, but anything with sweet potatoes, by far.
Love it.
Just amazing. Yeah. Awesome stuff.
You like the stuff on top that's like the candied yams,
souffle?
that kind of thing?
Yeah, anything
like
involving sweet potatoes, right? I'm in.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
By far. But hey, you can't go wrong with really good stuffing. You get stuffing.
Yeah.
Eddie, what about you?
My favorite dish is the night of, like 8:00. Dallas is on TV, probably getting killed. You get that turkey back out and you put it on toasted bread with a little bit of mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, and you make that sandwich in the evening. That is my favorite thing of all. Love that.
Yeah. Red beans and rice on top of it, right?
Turkey sandwich. Nope. That's not the right holiday for red beans and rice.
Okay, so
they want 4-hour rice, Eddie.
Do y'all also have ham, or do y'all just do straight turkey? Because we do ham as well. So I don't like ham.
I'm not.
You don't like?
You're not a big ham fan?
No, I like ham. I like ham. I'm turkey on Thanksgiving.
Turkey on Thanksgiving, but yeah, ham, you can't go wrong with it.
Turkey and ham. That's what you got to have both, because that way you can have a ham and turkey sandwich. So
sweet potato pie. I haven't had the pleasure, but I'm gonna have to try that. That sounds really good.
You like that, Harrison? That's good. That's good.
Gonna have to try that. We do dressing, not stuffing.
Well, and like he said, one, I don't eat dressing or stuffing, but this is the South. You eat dressing. You don't eat stuffing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So.
Happy Thanksgiving, Eddie. Look at that.
Love you, brother.
That.
Well, what about us, Harrison? He didn't even tell. I mean, good guy.
Sorry. All right, boys.
What's
back
up with?
at you,
All right,
Paul.
we're gonna have to get Andy to stop scratching his face with his middle finger after every insult. This is crazy. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for today's edition of the Peach State Power Hour. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. I hope y'all enjoy the week with your family. We'll be back 7:30 next Sunday.
Thank you for
fresh
Brandon
off
Adams.
The holidays.
He was
Yes.
great. Yeah, he's
By the
great.
way,
Yeah.
again, thank you to Brandon Adams for spending time with us today, talking some Georgia football. We'll be back next week at 7:30. Catch Eddie, Andy, and I next week following Georgia versus Georgia Tech. And we may have an SEC championship game to preview at that point.
Good
We'll
point.
see.
Oh, that would be
Very
fun.
possible.
We'll see you next week, people.